20 seconds to go. One last gasp for Edmonton. Bouchard's pass didn't click with Draisaitl. 12 seconds to go. Florida trying to end it up against the wall, which would be fitting. 3 seconds to go. Florida Panthers have won the Stanley Cup. For the first time in their 30-year history, the Florida Panthers are Stanley Cup champions. They made it about as hard on themselves as they possibly could, battling a valiant Edmonton team that had rallied from adversity all season long. And Paul Maurice, coaching lifer, 30 years in the National Hockey League, has his Stanley Cup.
What the puck is going on?
This is What the Puck is Going On for April the 3rd, 2025. I am Stephen Murray, nephew Dave Metzger, along any minute. I am in the Chicks Beach studios in the lovely Virginia Beach, Virginia, the United States of America. Nephew Dave joining us from his lovely Ocean View abode here shortly. Thursday night, big slate of NHL hockey. Let's kind of recap and see where we're at as far as the standings go as we dwindle down now to, look, we got 7-8 games left for the most part. A couple teams have 6 games left, and that's it. You either have 6, 7, or 8. And after the weekend, we will be down into the final stretch as playoff time looms here in the NHL, just about 2 weeks away. All right, so we'll look at the Eastern Division just to see where we are at the top. And Toronto holding on to that 2-point lead over Tampa Bay. Florida 1 point behind Tampa Bay, so a lot still to be settled there in the Atlantic. Carolina gets the best of the Capitals last night. Easy winners, 5-1. Caps coming off a back-to-back victory the night before in Boston, so they don't fare well on night 2 of that back-to-back, but their lead is still at 9 points. Winnipeg, 4 points clear of Dallas. Dallas, 4 points clear of Colorado in the Central, and in the Pacific, 5-point lead for Vegas over the Kings, 93 points for the Kings, 91 for Edmonton. So Vegas closing in on a division title themselves. They should, 3 games if they win, 4 games if they win, should be able to go ahead and lock things up on their end. All right, we'll bring in nephew Dave as well. Looks like we just have the one division race, Dave, basically with that same pack of teams in the Eastern Conference over there in the Atlantic with Toronto, Tampa Bay, and Florida. So any change in thoughts there?
No, Steve.
I know we still like Tampa Bay and big games tonight as far as they're concerned, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I think I like Tampa Bay still to make a run. They're 3 points out. They have plenty of time to do it, but they're going to want to kind of take that step forward sooner rather than later. Toronto keeps getting the points. They're going to make it a lot more difficult. But I still have some faith there in Tampa Bay. And I think Florida, they're not far out of it either, but something just tells me it's either going to be Toronto or Tampa here.
All right, then let's go ahead and take a look at the standings in terms of the wild card, because that's the most important thing we have and that's ever changing by the moment. So right now, Montreal would be your last team in. Ottawa, even after their loss the other night, and they're one of the teams who still has 8 games left to play. In fact, they could jump New Jersey just with the 2 extra games that they still have over the Devils, just 3 points behind them. So don't be shocked if Ottawa could even climb a couple of spots here. But 2 losses in a row kind of messing with them a little bit right now. Montreal 79, Rangers 79. The difference there, Montreal with that extra game in hand right now, and a better, well, they don't even have that. They're a minus 25 on the goal differential. The Rangers are at a plus 3. So Montreal fighting an uphill battle as far as that would be concerned. But they do have that extra game, which is going to probably loom large in the end. They're tied with the Rangers again, 79. Columbus, big win for them the other night. Throttled Nashville. I don't know why we didn't have more on that. Nashville, the night before, did not look good at all. And then coming into Columbus, you figured the Columbus had to get a win, home ice advantage, everything probably tilting in their favor. And they went ahead and whitewashed the Preds. So they're at 77, 2 points back. Detroit, big win for them the other night, 75 points back. Actually, they lost their last time out. So I'm probably thinking of the game before that. And then the Islanders, 74 points for them. Still creeping around these teams. Pittsburgh, Philadelphia, now 8 points back. You figure they need 5 games to clear Montreal and the Rangers if those 2 teams hit the complete skids and can't get anything done. So you figure it's just a matter of time before it's over with Pittsburgh, the Flyers. Their 71 points are not going to do them justice at the end. Technically still in it, though. Buffalo, Boston as well, technically still in it. Boston, I believe, that will be their swan song tonight if they lose. I think that's insurmountable on their end at this point to make a wild card. Okay, so what are you thinking here in the East, Dave? It's just going to
I think it's about the
toughest
same.
team wins in the end, right?
It's about the same as we left it.
Yeah.
I do agree with you that game in hand that Montreal has, that could be the difference between the playoffs and going home for the summer. So that's going to be probably the most interesting factor there.
Columbus 2 games
not out
in
of it
hand
yet either.
They have 2 extra games,
and they have the games. So it'll be interesting to see which 3 of those teams. Detroit's still in it, but you just don't get the warm and fuzzies from them.
Right.
In the sense of, can they make that big push there? It's really only 2 games, but with the way these other teams are going and the way it's been stacked here in this wild card race for the past couple of weeks, you don't see much movement, and if that continues, then that's going to mean bad things for Detroit. You mentioned the Islanders, Pittsburgh, and Philly. You're right. I mean, the writing's on the walls there. It would take something pretty drastic for them, and it's only a matter of time before you see an E next to their name.
Right. Basically, they need to run the table at this point and have the Rangers, Columbus, Montreal completely hit the skids, all 3 of them. We looked at the schedules the other night. I don't think there's any need to do that tonight. Each of them have their advantages, disadvantages along the way here. They all have hard games for the most part, and then a couple of easier ones as well, just kind of spaced out differently. In the West right now, St. Louis, 89 points. They're right there as your last team in. And then Calgary, in fact, Minnesota and St. Louis now tied with both 89 points, Dave. What about that? And then how about this? Edmonton now has 91. So they could even find themselves as the last seed at the end of the day. And the Kings 93, as good as the Kings have been, they were still right there, just 4 points ahead of St. Louis. Calgary fading fast here. They lost their last time out. They do have 2 extra games in hand, so that helps. St. Louis with just 6 remaining. And I think Calgary had the easier of the schedules when we looked at all these teams in the East and the West the other night. I think they still get Anaheim twice, which starts tonight. I mean, those are games you have to win. San Jose a couple of times as well. So they'll try to make one last hurrah, as will Vancouver. Seattle wins in overtime the other night. A game it looked like they were to lose. So they actually gained a couple of points when they shouldn't have had them. Now winners of 10 in a row. They'll be back at it tonight as well. Little too late, Dave, for Calgary, Vancouver.
Yeah, I think so, Steve. I think the West, what you see is what we're going to get. I think the seeding is the thing to play for now. I looked at the Blues just last night. They're 20-1 to win the Western Conference, and they are absolutely red hot. And it kind of gives you a resemblance of when they won the Cup. You know, that year at Christmas time, you're talking midway in January, they were the worst team in the league. And they went on to win the Cup that year. Now, why they weren't the worst team in the league this year, they were down there, and it wasn't somebody, we were truly thinking to be a true contender. But I tell you what, they did exactly what they did when they won the Cup, and I think that's going to make them dangerous. So whoever they draw in the first round better not take them lightly, because I think they have a chance to upset some people.
And I'll say this about the game tonight. I'll give a little shout out here to Anaheim, and we haven't thrown them in the penalty box in quite a while, and that's for good reason. They are 5-4-1 in their last 10, so that shows that they haven't given up. And where they were sitting at the bottom of the Western Conference here, they've now leapfrogged a few teams. They're ahead of Seattle, they're ahead of Nashville, ahead of Chicago, ahead of San Jose. Still 6 points back of Utah, but Anaheim has played decent. And just because you think Calgary has the win tonight doesn't necessarily mean that they will. Anaheim has been feisty, Dave.
Yeah, absolutely. They've been playing well enough to stay out of our penalty box. So kudos on them. Figure it's just a matter of time for them as well. But they're not in the basement where they usually are. Just kind of about midway, maybe a little bit under. But yeah, I mean, you could take them to pull off an upset tonight. Maybe a lower scoring game. Those are the kind of games they like to play.
All right. Do you have the games ready to roll, or do you want me to go down the list?
No, I think we can.
All right. What do we have first? What's first on our slate for tonight?
All right. First up, the Bruins.
Intriguing
versus
matchups,
the Canadians.
I'll say. Yeah, interesting matchups tonight. And we think of Boston as a team that's folding the tents, right? Montreal has to have this. And, Montreal is in that. This is as important as a game as any on the board tonight for Montreal. They're a $2 favorite. I think you can fade Boston, Dave. I think Montreal gets the win. I'm not sure I want to take Montreal over 3.5 goals. I would even be more comfortable with a -1.5 on the puck line, to be honest, in case they win this game 3-0, 3-1, something like that. I guess they get there. You got to give Boston a little bit of credit on defense still. They kind of stymied the Capitals for a decent portion of that most of that second period, right? The other night, it seemed like anyway.
Yeah, yep.
A big lull in the first period and the second period between Capital goals anyway. And then they were able to bag some at the end there to get over 3.5 for the Caps. So I'm not interested in watching Montreal try to struggle to 4 goals, although I think that they'll win. They should win convincingly as well. But, You can take them maybe on a 60-minute line. That might be your best bet.
I love the
Really
60-minute line. That's my play right there. Minus 130 for me.
Yeah, and I see minus
they gotta have
125. So you got to have it.
10 in a
and
row
Boston's willing to give it up
losses
to
for
him
Boston.
too, I believe. Boston's willing to hand that over.
Yeah, and it's at home. So 60-minute line's got to be the play, I think.
We do have Mountain Ball and Swayman and goalie for the Canadians and the Bruins, respectively. All right, what's next?
All right, Lightning at the Senators. This one's intriguing. Divisional rivals.
Hard game. This is a hard game. I could see this as a under type of hard-hitting playoff type of game, Dave, to be honest.
3-2 correct score, maybe.
That sounds about right. Creeping just under the total. The Lightning did get to 4 points on the island the other night against the Islanders, but figured the Senators are one notch better than that. You can struggle on the road for sure. We've seen it with the Capitals in back-to-back games. Now, this isn't a back-to-back for Tampa Bay, but I'm not sure I want to try to risk trying to get Tampa Bay to get the 4 goals here against an Ottawa team that's liable not to give you 2, to be honest. You are at plus 130 if you think the Lightning can get to 4 goals. That tells you right there this should be a lower scoring game. Over 2.5, minus 130 for Ottawa. I mean, you're going against Vasilevsky, so I mean, how many chances are you really going to get a lot? I mean, 3 goals or more. I think this is 2 playoff teams going at it here, Dave. Tampa Bay has, I mean, if they're trying to win this division, I mean, it starts here again tonight with Ottawa. I think generally a pass for me. I would lean under overall as a best play here. And I'm reluctant to do that because both of these teams can't score. I just think the stakes are high for both of them, and that's going to lead to a playoff type of game here.
Yeah, I agree, Steve. I think, the total is at 5.5 tonight, plus, 100 for the under. I think what we do here is we move that to 6.5, under
right.
6.5 at minus 160, and then we find us a nice bigger number to parlay that with in some of these games down the slate. I think that's the best way to go about this one.
Not a bad move because when it's 3-2, then you're going to find yourself not sweating that empty netter as much at the end of the game. Good strategic plan there. All right, so we got the Canadians on the 60-minute line, leaning under, even with an alt line, 6.5 in Tampa, Ottawa. Okay, what's next?
All right, we have Colorado traveling to Columbus to take on the Blue Jackets.
I mentioned the other night that we've had a lot of games that are starting to have some crazy numbers, 10 goals or more, blowout type of games. This isn't a blowout type of game, but I think for sure we get goals here. This could be the highest scoring game of the night. In fact, Columbus has been involved in a lot of these higher scoring games lately. I'm not sure what's up with Merzlikins letting the puck go through his legs a little bit more than usual. Even a victory the other night, they gave up 4 goals, but they were able to score 8 themselves. I think this is a competitive, good hockey game. If it turns out into a defensive fest and Columbus is having a hard time scoring on Colorado, who's the favorite in this game, well, I could see that too. But I'm going to give the Blue Jackets credit here for trying to fight to the very end. Again, we talked about the nostalgic factor with the Goudreau boys, weighing heavy still on that team to this day. And I think they're still going to try to ride all that kind of momentum here. And 6.5 just seems cheap to me. I could see this being a 4-4 game.
I love
even at some point. Yeah. So I'm going to go over in this. And, if you want to play an alternate over just to try to get a good payout, I'm not going to fault you there.
Well, Steve, I think maybe that's the number. I could see either side of the coin in this game. My gut tells me that, we could see 12 goals tonight. You never know. Or as you mentioned, Columbus kind of struggles and Colorado puts the good defensive wall up and it's 3-1, 3-2, or 4-2,
Right.
something like that, and you don't quite get there. Play them both maybe, but 7.5, over 7.5 at plus 205, I think could be a number you pair there with the under that we just talked about in the last game.
All right. Let's see. Borzlikins and Mackenzie Blackwood are your goalies for this game. All right. What do we have next?
All right. This one should be a complete blowout. Dallas is at home versus Nashville. Over under here, Steve, 6.5.
So to me, this has blowout written all over it. I don't see any goalies listed yet. Do you see Saros as the Nashville goalie anywhere, Dave?
All right, so I don't have any either.
Okay. And Ottinger, I believe, did not play the other night, so I'm assuming he'll be in goal for Dallas. And if I recall right, Nashville had the back-to-back, and Saros played the second game of that. He still got lit up. Nashville's on a road trip. They can't be having a good time here. Not a great spot to step into in Dallas. The Stars still a lot to play for. They can still win that division. I think you get a great effort out of them tonight. And this is going to be a death by bludgeoning. So, yeah, give me whatever with Dallas. I'll lay the puck and a half. I'll probably even lay more than that. If you want to take Dallas, if you want to have a fun little parlay tonight, honestly, with things that we've talked about so far, and you just want two things to happen, I'm not going to fault you if you want to take Dallas minus 3.5 at plus 430. And then if we flash back to this Columbus game and we take the total alternate over in that game, and let's get stingy here. We'll do plus 870 at over 9.5, just to try to get us to 10 goals. Obviously, you can dumb this down with the Dallas minus 2.5 over 7.5 or something like that. But $10 wins you 500 for the Stars minus 3.5 and Colorado over 9.5 with Columbus. I mean, those are two things I think can happen, Dave, tonight for sure. So I'm going to take a look at that myself. And I'll lay the big number with Dallas here against the Predators, who have not been impressive.
No, Dallas, anything you want to do here. That's the short and simple of that one. All right. This next one, I think we have some good opportunity here. St. Louis is at home versus Pittsburgh. Steve, you're over under here, 5.5.
You think you know what? I mean, so a bad taste in my mouth with the Blues the other night. I had them over 3.5 goals. They only get to 2 and they're overtime winner. But my other three teams got over 3.5 goals. So they were my lone loser on that ticket. I don't want to go back to the well on them tonight. Now, are they going to beat Pittsburgh? Probably. But this is Pittsburgh's last stand as well. So I think you're going to come out and get Pittsburgh's A-plus effort here. And at some point, the Blues have to lose a game. So I'm wondering if it just might be here against the Penguins. You might like the Blues at home, Dave. Yeah, I could see them winning. But I'm going to do a little buyer beware from experience myself. It's my fault I haven't been on the Blues during their previous 9 wins where they probably scored 1 million goals. And I picked the one game where they get one late in the third to barely grab overtime points for themselves. But I'll pass on this one, I think, at the end of the day. If you really had to have a sneaky underdog play somewhere along the line tonight, then I will say this. The Pens are paying very, very well, minus 1.5. I mean, you're getting 4.5 to 1 odds on that alone. It is Pittsburgh's last stand. Are they going to win? More than likely not, but I'm going to have to pass this one myself, Dave.
Yeah, Steve, I get you. I still think the Blues, as hot as they are at home, You know,
We
if
do
they
have
can
a.
get some more points here,
I'm
they
sorry,
make things
Dave.
really interesting.
I'm sorry, Dave. Bennington is out for the Blues as well. We got Joel Hofer in goal. And Tristan Yari is the goalie for Pittsburgh. So not your everyday goalie for the Blues either tonight. So
No,
consider that.
I'm still going to trust them, though, on the hot streak. -1.5 puck line play for the Blues.
All right, what's next?
Next up, Kings and Utah. This is a home game for the Utah Hockey Club. You're over under here, 5.5.
You know what? The Kings have been doing a good job flexing their muscles when they have to. They're getting a little bit more offense involved. They're getting a little bit more scoring. They haven't lost anything on defense. That's what we've been kind of saying about them. As if this team can just find any lick of offense, they're going to be a handful to deal with. And I think that is the case probably here tonight against a feisty Utah team who, well, they can put up some duds themselves, as their recent road trip has shown. I mean, they can get blown out like the rest of them by 8 goals. But they've been able to win by margin themselves as well. I think they're getting the wrong kind of animal coming in town tonight with the Kings. The Kings just play bully hockey, and they're finding more licks on offense here. I think -137 is a cheap number if you want to take them to win in regulation or overtime or in a shootout. You're getting +180 at -1.5. I would not be shocked if the Kings win this by a couple of goals, 3 goals here. Even on the alternate puck line, you're getting a big number. -2.5 is +340. Again, the win by 4 goals is at +900. That's another one you could link in with Dallas or Columbus and maybe put it in the round robin and just kind of hope for the best. Again, we've been seeing a lot of blowouts recently as well. Utah, they're still a little feisty, a little dangerous, but I just like the way in the direction that the Kings are going right now, being able to get the puck into the net a little bit more. Darcy Kemper, nice season for him. He's your goalie tonight. Vejmelka, the goalie for the Utah Hockey Club. So I'll take the Kings to win and a somewhat going away here, Dave, in Utah tonight.
Yeah, I like what the Kings have been doing, Steve. They're kind of trending in the right direction again. Looks like they could be a headache in the playoffs. -1.5 puck line, +190. I'll probably end up doing something with that. And then +115 on the 60-minute line is also a good option for them as well.
Yeah, I do like that.
So the next game, either of those both of those are probably going to get played at some point. We have a little bit before that game starts, 9:10 p.m. The Ducks and the Flames, Steve, we kind of touched on this one a little bit earlier. Over-under is 5.5. And again, I think it's more of a lower scoring game than we think. This one, with the Ducks, we know they're a trending to the under type of team. Under 5.5 is at +110. I think I could see that here.
This will be a pass for me at the end of the day. But again, don't be surprised if just because Calgary has to win doesn't mean that they will. I don't have any goalie. Actually, I do have Dustin Wolf listed as a goalie right now, and that's all I see. Pass for me at the end of the day. If the Ducks win, don't be surprised.
All right, here's a good one for us late night. The Winnipeg Jets are in Vegas to take on the Golden Knights. Your over-under here is at 5.5. Steve, this could be a heavyweight playoff type of game. 2 teams that at some point could see each other. I know they're capable of scoring, but Steve, I think this is a defensive matchup here. Under 5.5. I'm just going to bet on that with a playoff type of atmosphere here. Again, as I mentioned, we've seen them both score a bunch of goals, but when you have 2 heavyweights like this, more times than not, you kind of see that grinding it out type of game. And for that reason, Steve, I think we see a low-scoring physical affair in this one.
I like the Jets. I would take them plus 125. If you want to get super frisky, you're getting plus 185 on the 60-minute line. You're getting almost 3-1 at minus 1.5. I think the Jets see this game as this is the other division leader. We're on their ice. This is a chance for us to really flex our muscles here. And what should be a fantastic hockey game and a good watch. I'll put my eyes onto it before I get to bed. But I'll go with the Jets here in what should almost be like a statement game as they put the final touches on perhaps winning that division, having a great regular season, and the best hockey this franchise has seen in quite some time. And they're poised to make a deep playoff run. I think that can start tonight with a big flex your muscle type of win over the Vegas Golden Knights. So I think you can at least get a superb effort here from the Jets. We'll see what the Knights come out with as well. Obviously, they're great at home. Should be a fantastic hockey game. I'll lean with Winnipeg here.
All right. Edmonton, last game of the evening. Edmonton is in San Jose. The over-under here is 6.5, and I think this is one of those games, we talked about earlier with Dallas. I think this is the same type of deal, Steve. You pick your poison here with Edmonton, and I think you're in good shape.
Edmonton wins. I don't see Connor McDavid listed as my anytime goal scorer, so I'll assume he'll be out tonight. Edmonton probably wins. We've seen these games with the Sharks before, Dave, where they just kind of upset the apple cart on these big, giant favorites, or at least push them to the limits. So I'll lay off of this one. We'll try to knock out our winnings early before I got to try to sweat out an Edmonton Oilers, San Jose Sharks 10:40 puck drop Eastern Standard Time here on the East Coast.
No doubt.
So a pass for me. I'm sure Edmonton will win 3-1.
Yeah, it's going to be a pass for me. But that makes a lot of sense, Steve.
All right. Goal scorer or penalty box? We'll get on out of here.
Let's go with the penalty box.
All right.
You're trying to switch 7 guys. Mike, come on. You can't do that. Dallas Pelly number 10, 2 minutes for rushing. I got 82. Tampa, tripping.
All right, who do you got?
All right, Steve, I've picked on them before, and I think it just has to, it has to go again, and that's going to be Nashville. Just the type of season that they've had, big expectations for them, not even close to being met. So, Steve, for that reason, Nashville is in the penalty box.
You look at Florida kind of tumbling down the standings a little bit. Losers of 3 in a row now. But we have the Bruins on the 9-game losing streak. We throw them in the box. I'll throw the Islanders in there. They've now lost 6 in a row. So they look like they're done. We talked about them being done. They're acting like they're done. So we'll fade them as the rest of the pack above them is running away from them, skating away from them towards wild card glory. The Islanders way back in the distance, running out of breath, running out of steam. So I'll throw the Islanders in that penalty box tonight. And we'll come up with a couple goal scorers. Let's see what we can come up with here. All right, Dave, what do you got?
All right, Steve, I'm going to go with these 4 guys tonight, paying out a big 69-1 odds. We'll go with
send me a picture of this when you get it.
All right. Kirill Marchenko at plus 220. He's a offensive star there for the Jackets.
He's been doing very good.
Patrick Laine, I feel like, is due for one in Montreal. Maybe he gets a power play strike tonight. Jordan Kyrou, big offensive key for them. He's at plus 175 this evening. And Jack Eichel for the Golden Knights at home, another key offensive piece for them. These four guys, $10 wins you $700.
All right, send me that one, Dave. I'd like to see that one myself. I'll go ahead and take Patrick Lane for the Canadians. They should have a few goals at least, 2 or 3. Let's see if he can get one in past the goalkeeper Swayman. I like your angle here, and Columbus and Colorado taking the goal scorer there. I'll go ahead and take Fantilli at plus 280.
I like that.
So I'll add Adam Fantilli. I got, and let me get the payout here. Patrick Lane. And then let's see. Let's go ahead and take a Dallas Star here, since we figured they'll be fine on home ice. And we'll go ahead and, you know what, Jamie Benn. We've been hovering on Harley here, but this sounds like a Jamie Benn goal fest against the Predators. We'll get him on the board here. And then let's take a King, just because they've been doing great. And I'm going to take my man. Let's make sure he's listed. Yeah, we're going to take Adrian Kempe at plus 180. He is the favorite to score a goal tonight overall against Utah. So Adrian Kempe plus 180, Jamie Benn plus 330, Patrick Lane plus 210, Adam Fantilli plus 280. $10 wins you $1,408, Dave. Look at that.
I like that. Absolutely.
All right. Anything else? Games coming up over the weekend. Let's just kind of take a quick look. I know we're running late. Let me pull up a good schedule here. And we'll just do a quick thought about that. And NFL? Yes, I'm ready for some NFL. As that's what it wants to click to. Okay. Let's see what we have. I'm assuming we have a full Saturday slate. Friday, our Capitals play. I saw that. We have 3 games Friday. Carolina at Detroit, Chicago, Washington, Minnesota, and the Islanders. So nothing of any great significance amongst teams that are currently in it. Saturday is a long slate. The early games on ABC. We have Rangers and Devils. That's an important game. We have Pittsburgh and Dallas is the game behind that. Florida and Ottawa is another good game. 2 o'clock on Saturday. A couple of 4 o'clock games. Anaheim, Vancouver, Edmonton, and the Kings is a good game. And then throughout the night, let's see here. Carolina's in Boston. Tampa Bay's in Buffalo. Columbus and Toronto will be a good game. Montreal will have Philly on home ice. That's a fade spot for sure on the Flyers. St. Louis and Colorado, tough game. Winnipeg, Utah, Vegas, Calgary, Seattle, San Jose. And then Sunday, a decent slate. Washington is up in Nassau. Dallas is at Minnesota. Columbus is at Ottawa. Florida at Detroit. Boston at Buffalo. Pittsburgh at Chicago. Montreal at Nashville. And Vegas, Vancouver, 10 o'clock puck drop. ESPN Sunday night. Look at that. All right. And then we'll have 5 games for us to discuss on Monday. All right. Anything there sticking out for you on the weekend, Dave?
Maybe we'll see a little bit of movement there in the wild card standings. Some significant games going on this weekend. So it'll be some good watches there on Saturday. And, of course, we'll, be watching on Friday night for our Caps as well.
All right, everyone. Good luck, and we will see you on Monday night. This is What the Puck is Going on the Deep End Broadcasting Network.
What the puck is going on?